Welcome, folks, to the Speed Demon NSRL Grand National Series here at Rockingham. I'm your host, Rick Souza, and I'm joined in the booth here by my co-host, John DeRudris.
Hey, Rick, it's going to be a good, fun race tonight here at Rockingham. Yes, we did say Rockingham. If you remember this track, it's an old historic track, but it's also a very bumpy track. And I'll mention a little bit of that later on. But right now, we are about to get into qualifying here tonight at the Thunder Alley. And right now, Rick, I don't see anybody on the track.
Nope, no one is currently on the track right now. I am seeing some times being posted, but nothing at the current time. So we'll just...
We'll just kind of see. Maybe they're taking their time. Maybe they're being a little patient.
Yeah, we are seeing times getting posted. We'll see.
We shall see. And at the top of the leaderboard, which he's been there multiple times, is Kyle Milliken. We don't know if that's going to be accurate with the qual times, but in practice, he was fastest, Rick, and he's been fast all season long. All recruitment long, and also for the first race of the season, he's been fast. So I expect to see a good race out of him tonight.
I do too. We'll just take a quick commercial break here, and we'll come back and see if we're back to green flag racing in a second. So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead. Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loba is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all he's worth here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out?
Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron. Drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
What I'll do is I'll just give a qual update.
Welcome back, folks, to the IWM broadcast of the National Sim Racing League's second race of the season here at Rockingham.
And we're seeing a couple. Go ahead, Rick. Sorry about
that. Go
right
ahead. No, it's going to reintroduce ourselves, but we're seeing some laps being posted. We do have some times right now on the tower. So we've seen Kyle Milliken post a heck of a time of a 24:60. But most people don't know much about this track. This track has been really here for a very long time, but hasn't been used in the recent times here with the Cup or Xfinity Series.
Exactly. So Rockingham first opened in 1965, and the race was called the American 500. A lot of the historical drivers were a part of this race. You got Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, Buddy Baker, David Pearson, all of those drivers. And funny enough, the purse for that race was $13,000. So think about that, 1965.
Yeah, that's probably a huge purse at that time for sure.
Exactly. And going through the history, Richard Petty has 11 wins at Rockingham. One of his first of 11 wins came in the 1967 season. The track was reconfigured to a D-shape oval in 1969. And throughout the years, it basically became one of the NASCAR's most historic tracks. And in 2004, like you mentioned, it was the last NASCAR race to be held. It was a Subway 400. Matt Kenseth actually won that race and held off rookie Casey Kane. Gosh, Casey Kane, haven't
Jeez.
heard that name in a second. By a thousandth of a second, or a hundredth of a second, rather. And Carl Long apparently flipped down the backstretch. I'm going to have to go back and look at that replay. But ever since then, it really hasn't done much. Mother Nature has kind of taken its toll on the track, but iRacing decided to scan this up and get it in the sim.
It's really just a fun track to be on. It's got some really quirky things about it. One of the things you'll immediately notice if you are on the track and driving it is that the exit of pit road actually slants to the right towards the seam of the banking of the track. So it's really easy to really get caught coming off pit road and make a mistake there. So drivers are going to have to be careful as they come off pit road and get ready to get back on the track after a pit stop. So that's going to be important. And then the rest of it is, as you had mentioned, John, it's the age. The track is just, the asphalt has experienced a lot of age on the track, and it's pretty bumpy, so.
Exactly, and I'll talk about that a little bit later on once qualifying settles down a little bit. As you can see, we have about 8 times on the board, ranging from a 24.6 to a 25.1, with Kyle Milliken beating off Ty Bostic, as you mentioned there, by 0.05 of a second, followed by Mark Sikosi, Justin Diltz, Luke Bullard, Ryan Chapman, Josh Aaron, and Alan Crowell. But yeah, Rick, it's a very old track. The surface is worn out. It's extremely bumpy. And I'm going to get into this once the qualifying is over, but that is one of my keys to the race, is make sure you can keep the car under you, especially on old tires, especially how light the car is going to get when you go over these bumps. Old tires, slick tires with a track that will cause a lot of movement within the chassis of the car. It seems like a perfect storm to have some spins.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Are we going to see a turn 2 or a turn 4 monster tonight? Maybe. Some of the drivers we have, but that's just the nature of of this track.
Well, and it certainly is going to be a challenge here. It's just it's going to take some skillful driving, and we've got some good cameras that should allow us to get in there and look at the driver, watch his hands as he gets around this track, and just see what he's doing.
And as you can see on the screen now, it is a 197 lap race with a track temperature of 120 degrees. That has raised 6 degrees since practices started, and since qualifying has almost commenced. We have about 50 seconds left of this qual session, but we do have 3 stages tonight. Stage 1 is going to end on lap 45, stage 2 is going to end up on lap 90, and stage 3 is obviously the end of the race. But it's a fairly cool day, a little bit of wind, but the track temperature is also going to aid into the slickness of the track, being able to keep your car under you. And they're going to use all 6 sets of those tires. I imagine we may see some heavy tire conservation here tonight.
Absolutely. And again, this track is old. You can see the seams that are there. That also tends to add to the slickness of the track. If you hit a seam and you're riding around, that is a whole lot less grip on a seam than it is the actual asphalt itself. So should be an interesting race.
Yes, it should.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
Oh, goodness. We have some sound going on, guys. All right, we are back. Had some live feed coming into the mic there, Rick. They were talking about going over some of the race rules with some of the admins.
Well, we'll try to see if we can keep up and see what's going on. We're just getting gridded up, and hopefully it all goes pretty well. Yeah, I've got my. We'll let the drivers talk amongst themselves, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be good on our end now. As you're seeing the number 10 car, Kyle Milliken, in that Patron car, and he's been strong all season, Rick. You see Ty Bostic outside in that patriotic DuPont scheme, and, Mark Sikosi there. He's going to join here soon. You have Justin Diltz. You got a lot of strong drivers here in the top 5 that have shown strong speed already in the beginning of the season in the NSRL League. So I expect to see a lot of good racing tonight. And let's go through the rundown, Rick. We got Kyle Milliken starting on the pole for tonight's race in the number 10 machine. Ty Bostic in the 2nd position. Mark Sikosi in that number 2 car in the 3rd position with Justin Diltz in the 19. Right there in 4th. Luke Bullard in 5th. Ryan Chapman in 6th. You have Josh Aaron in 7th. Alan Kroll rounding out the top 8. And it says that I'm there in the number 9 position, but I'm definitely not on the track, guys, I promise. You got Bill Hull there in the 10th position.
Rounding out the top, you've got Elliott Swope in the 11th, Kenny Bradstock in 12th. I'm not there either. Evan Amick in 14th, Thomas Thompson in 15th, Dan Withers in 16th, and rounding out the field is Chris Robley in 17th.
So going into really quick before they hit the green flag, my 3 keys to this race are going to be: 1, keeping the car under you. You got to make sure you do not lose control of the car. It's going to be very slick. Number 2, pay attention to pit road. As you mentioned, Rick, it's going to be a very interesting pit exit. So I say pay attention to pit road entrance, pit road exit, especially under green. And then also, tire conservation is going to be huge here tonight, especially on a long run if we do get a long run. So those are my 3 keys to tonight's race.
All right, well, we are getting ready to go to green. We'll just keep an eye on the pace car, and my guess it's about to drop off, and we'll be here we go. Green flag, dropping any second.
And we are green. A little
flag.
stack up there on the start. Yeah, little stack up there. Very interesting. Looked like some of the drivers kind of, I don't know, stopped a little bit. Not really sure.
I think they were kind of holding back a little bit just in case. I mean, look, we're 3 wide on the backstretch in lap 1.
Yeah, that's not going to work. 3 wide here is definitely not where you want to be going into turn 1 or turn 3 as Kyle Milliken leads them around for lap 1. As you can see, there's multiple lines being run here. You got Milliken followed by Ty Bostic there, and pretty much everybody's single file now. But some drivers are already drifting their way up the track. You can see right there between 1st and 2nd, 2 very distinct lines being run. Kyle is running the bottom. Ty is basically getting a middle entry to low and exit off, and we had a car in the wall, I believe, coming out of 2. Looks like he kept it straight, about 10 cars back. No caution, but it looks like we are good to go here at Rockingham.
Well, as they're beginning to start their 3rd lap of this 197 lap scheduled event, we are still being shown the way by Kyle Milliken.
And this is what I would expect to see out of this driver here. He is a strong driver, knows how to drive his car on the long runs, knows his strategy very well. And we've seen this in some of the recruitment races, Rick. He's been able to come down pit road to put himself in a position where other drivers weren't and actually won some races just by having a strong strategy. And you can see him now slowly pulling away from Bostic there in 2nd.
Yeah, we're seeing about about a 1/3 of a second gap between Bostic and Milliken.
But and you can see right there, he's coming up on him.
They are definitely extending their lead over the 3rd place driver of Sarkozy. He's in about almost a full second back.
And we may have a pass going into turn 1 here. Bostic looked like he kind of got shot out of a cannon. I don't know if he was holding back. I don't know if he's just urgent to go, but his car has kind of come to life here on lap 4.
Well, I'll tell you, this track is one of those in the NASCAR series where you have got to build some heat up in the tires to get any grip.
Oh. Bostic in the wall. Bostic was in the wall coming out of turn 4. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Rick.
No,
but, he was in the wall there, so that's going to definitely cost him some time. But go ahead, continue what you're saying.
Yeah, you just got. This is one of those tracks where you have absolutely just got to manage your tires, manage the heat and the temperature of the tires, and pay attention to what you're doing, because I guess it drives like a bigger track, but it's only 1 mile, and
Exactly.
You're pretty much barely ever on a straight segment. It's only the backstretch because it's a big D-shaped track, so you're always turning. So there's lots of heavy wear on your right front and on the right side of the car.
And that's what you have to pay very close attention to, especially off of 4, because you're in a constant turn. That wheel is constantly turning, like you mentioned, so that will definitely wear out the inner portion of your tire. So you've got to pay attention there. But looking at what Kyle's been able to do, he's been able to put a really nice lead on the number 2nd position of Ty Bostic there. And let's just kind of make our way through the field, see what everybody else is doing. So we got Milliken out front, Bostic right now in 2nd. We have Mark Sikosi in that 3rd position, who's kind of just been hovering around right there in a good-looking Miller Genuine Draft machine.
Well, I think, John, that a lot of these guys were running some throwback paint schemes, so we'll keep an eye on those and bring back some of the drivers that this was a Rusty Wallace paint scheme, was it, for a while?
Yes, it was, and it looks really good too. I have to say that's a very recognizable paint scheme out of that camp right there. So awesome paint schemes there. So let's see what we got. We got the number 19 of Justin Diltz in that red and black. Number 19, we've seen him run that before in the series. He is sitting nice in 4th, just kind of hovering right there. We've got Ryan Chapman in the number 7 machine. What kind of paint scheme is he running, Rick?
Paint Set, they're one of the sponsors of this league, and he's run that. Ryan's run that paint scheme before as well. So behind Ryan, you've got the Luke Ballard and Black Rifle paint scheme.
Looks like that's that's I believe Noah Gregson's paint scheme, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct.
Looks very similar to Noah Gregson. Luke's doing a nice job there in the 6th position, just kind of hovering around.
Josh Aaron running his traditional 00 paint scheme.
Yes, he is, and we've seen him run well throughout the whole recruitment schedule.
Close behind him,
yep, close behind him, I believe.
Yeah, it was. Hang on, it's the 51 of Bill Hull.
Bill Hull, that I believe is a Kurt Busch throwback, if I'm not mistaken, to when Kurt Busch ran the 51 car.
Nice. Bill Hull is from Spartanburg, South Carolina, not far from this track, and they're in a tight battle here between these 3 cars.
You can see 3 lines being run. You have the 00 up in the top, you have the 51 there kind of in the middle, and you have Elliott Swope there kind of hanging back, kind of running what they're not. So look at Elliott go all the way up to the wall, and he's going to drop back down, try to get off the corner in that IWM, iRacing Warriors Motorsports paint scheme. As the 00 and the 51 are battling now, we'll see what Elliott can do here.
They are keeping it tight together. Again, all picking different lines for exit and entry out of these corners.
If I had to make a bonus point for tonight's race, is passing. Passing is going to be very important, but it's also going to be very difficult to pass on this track. As you can see, the 51 has been trying to get around this 00, and in the meantime, you have Elliott Swope going to go on the outside of him, probably going to complete this pass if he can hold it off the corner. Not able to, but it's just going to be so hard to pass, especially when these tires start to wear.
Absolutely. So behind Elliott, you've got the number 9 of Alan Crowell. He's from, well, I'm not sure where Alan's from.
He's from somewhere, but he's running a can't really tell what that is, Rick. It doesn't look really recognizable to me.
Well, I see a Speedway. I see a Speed Demon setups sponsor and Elevate Autos. He's running some league sponsors, and good way to support his league and patriotic paint scheme as we're coming up to Memorial Day. So that's all good.
Absolutely it is. He's been running very strong with his teammates there as well throughout the entire recruitment schedule as well as the opening race. So we'll see how he can do throughout the rest of the race here as we move on to Kenneth Bradstock in that 74 machine. We've seen him run that scheme before, and you know how good of a driver Kenneth is. So hopefully he can run a good race tonight. And he right now is in the 11th position. And keep in mind, we only have 15 cars on the track right now, and you see about 6 or 7 of them right under there, basically coming out of 3 and 4 under a blanket. So the majority of the field is actually right where we are watching. So a lot of action on the track has been taken off. So let's hop back on one more car back to Evan Amick in that 77 machine. He's getting challenged right now by the 78 of Thomas Thompson, and it looks like he just kind of let him go. So Evan was like, you know what, you're the faster car, I'm just going to slide in right behind you and just let you take on that position. So there's Thomas Thompson in that 78 machine.
Thomas Thompson's a local boy. He is actually from Rockingham, North Carolina, so this is his backyard.
Yes, it is. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, speaking of Thomas before the race, he spent a lot of time here at the track, worked here at the track, so maybe he's got the inside track to Rockingham.
I would imagine so. If he's been here, if he's worked here, he knows this track probably better than anybody on the track at the moment. He is running back there in 12th position.
All right, let's jump back up with our leaders and head back up to Kyle Milliken.
He's brought out almost a 4-second lead on the rest of the field. He is checked out. I mean, they are not even close, and he is still gaining on Mark Sikosi, who is now in second. Not really sure what happened to Ty Bostic. In the middle of that, Ty Bostic dropped down to 6th, Rick, 7.5 seconds behind these drivers. So not really sure what happened with Ty there. He was running in the 2nd position when we went through the field. Now he's all the way dropped back down out of the top 5. But yeah, Kyle's doing a great job up front, always does, knows how to manage his tires. And right now, it's about a 3.7 second gap. We'll see what the leaders look like coming to the line. And it has gone from a 3.7 second gap all the way up to now a 4-second gap on Mark Sikosi there in the number 2 Miller car.
Let's jump back. I think there was an incident. I'm not sure if we've got this captured fully, but let's replay that and see what we've got here.
So loose out of 4, saved it, and just lost some track position. So, I mean, solid driving out of him, not getting into the wall, but as I was mentioning in the race, you know, we may see these cars, the rear ends may go out of them, and they're going to be slick. They're going to be slick for sure. So good job out of Ty to hold on to that one. Still in the top 10, you know, still 9 seconds, 9-10 seconds back. So as we are now riding along, and we have our first lapped car of the day. Wow, Kyle's also already reaching the back of the field. He just lapped Dan Withers there, looking to lap Christopher Robley as well, and does that with ease. So we're already getting some lap traffic there.
We are, and we're coming up to our first stage. Our first stage is at 45 laps. We're at lap 26 right now, so we are dialing in and coming towards that first stage break at lap 45.
You can just see how consistent Kyle is being right now on the track. He's running the same line every single race. He's running the same line every single lap. He's a very consistent driver, so I expect him to be able to conserve it as he's moved up his lead up to about a 4.2 second lead now on Mark Sikosi, with Chapman in 3rd, about 6 seconds back, Pollard in 4th, about 6 seconds back as well, and Justin Dilch running at the top 5, about 8.5 seconds back. So, you know, 8.5 seconds here. This track is very, very large. It's a large deficit.
Massive.
It's about a third of the way around. So right now, you know, you have Kyle coming out of turn 4. Justin is basically just now entering turn 3. So it's a big gap to make up. And, you know, Kyle is gaining about a 10th a lap. So he's been able to take advantage of that clean air and take advantage of that lead and just drive away from the field.
Let's ride along with...
let's ride along with Mark Sikosi, actually. Don't mean to interrupt you, Rick, but he is dropping on the leaderboard fast. He just dropped down to 4th. And he's dropping even quicker. I don't know if he hit the wall, but his time
Let's go up and see about with our damage cam, and let's take a look at that right side of his car. It looks pretty clean. Well, no, he scrubbed it just a little bit. You can see some of that paint's been worn away off that Miller Genuine Draft Camaro.
Yeah, he dropped down to 4th, so we're seeing some loose conditions already. That's my guess around that. But now you have Ryan Chapman in that second position, followed by Luke Bullard in the third position.
Yeah, there's definitely a number of drivers have elected to go on to pit road. We said Ty Bostic, Chris Robley. They've gone back in for tires, I'm guessing.
I would guess for sure that they've gone back there for tires. I'm looking right now. You have 3 drivers a lap down. You have Ty Bostic there. Let's see what kind of times we're going. Ty Bostic is now dropped to 15. So
he is. Ty
Bostic
is coming up. Yep, he's coming out now. Based on that time, he took 4 tires and fuel.
Yes, he did, and the leader is right behind him. So don't want to get 3 laps down. 2 laps down is already a little bit of a challenge. But, you know, he would be the first one to come down pit road, and he was in that 6th position. So we'll see what that strategy does. Maybe he's trying to gain some time here on Milliken, because I don't know if they're going to have to pit, but I'm assuming they may have to. I don't know if 50 laps is going to be within the fuel window, but right now, Kyle Milliken has opened up his lead to 8.6 seconds.
That's pretty amazing. That is just over 1/3 around. The average time here qualifying was around 24.70. So if you've got almost a 9-second gap between second place, that's a huge difference.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely is. We're seeing now him still gaining on Chapman there in second and third. And really the battle right now on the track is between that first and second position. You also have a battle going on between 5th and 6th. You have another battle going on between 9th and 10th and 11th. So you have multiple battles going on the track right now. Everyone, we're 36 laps in to this 197 lap event. Odd number, but it is the Thunder Valley 200. So with 197 laps, that's how we get to that number. So right now, just past lap 37, 8 laps away from stage 1. And, you know, just to make a prediction, Kyle looks like he's kind of going to run away with the stage. He's already lapped some cars. You know, he's been able to stay out front, so he moved his lead up to 9 seconds already. Just unbelievable run so far for that number 10 machine.
Yeah, so his, you know, the goal is for Kenneth Bradstock in the 74 not to go a lap down before this stage break happens.
I would agree, because if he gets a lap down, then, you know, Josh Aaron and Elliott Swope are right there, so he's got to be really careful. Got to be able to sustain that lead in front of the leader. But right now, he's within striking distance, Kyle is, of getting those 3 cars a lap down. I think it'll happen because that last time around, Kyle gained 1.6 seconds on Kenneth and Elliott there. So we have a wreck. Oh, car on the wall in 3, car on the wall in 3. Just as I was saying that, it looks like it cleared up, but right in front of Elliott Swope, the 67 machine of Dan Withers was in the wall, it looked like.
Dan definitely got some heavy damage to that 67 machine.
And right now, Elliott and Kenneth right there are on the verge of getting a lap down. They're right there. So let's hop back up to Kyle. He is just now getting into the picture right there. Just exited. All those cars in front of him are just scrambling, trying to stay ahead of them for the next 4 laps.
They are in his sights. He's about to take. Now Dan was already a lap down. He's 2 laps down.
Yeah, he's 2 laps down, but you can see that 10 car is gaining and gaining fast. Oh, car on the wall in 4 or 3 and 4, right in front of the leaders here. See what Kyle can do to navigate through this jungle of lap down cars, or what will be lap down cars.
So that's the 74. That was
Get a little close there.
A little close.
Elliott, hold on to it. Elliott's doing everything he can to stay in front of that 10 car, but it's not going to last. And now the 10 is going to make his run at Kenneth Bradstock with 2 to go.
I think about to take out the 00 of Josh Aaron.
Yep.
Yeah. So he made that look easy as he powered through Aaron, Swope, and Bradstock. And I guess next is Evan Amick in the 77.
He is.
Those 2 laps cannot get here quick enough for Evan Amick.
No, it can't. And Josh Aaron, unless Elliott Swope can get by him, looks like Josh Aaron will get that lucky dog. So it's going to be a battle to the end for what will be the 10th position, the 9th and 10th position there between Elliott Swope and Josh Aaron. But Kyle Milliken doing a great job coming to going to be the stage end, I believe, once they reach the end of lap 45. So it's not going to be right here when he crosses the line. My guess is going to be at the end of this lap, but we shall see when the caution is thrown.
He has been running right down on that yellow line the whole race. Now, another thing to consider as we come up to lap 45 here is that this is an open setup, which means these drivers configured these cars themselves. They didn't take a standard iRacing setup, so they can tweak the car for their own particular driving means and methods. So.
Yes, they can. And as soon as you said that, Rick, we had the end of stage 1, and Kyle Milliken led every single lap of stage 1 and take home the stage 1 win tonight in the Thunder Alley 200. So what a strong stage 1 by that 10 machine and that 10 camp. I mean, he has a 9-second gap on Ryan Chapman, and that's only after 45 laps. And think about this, we have a 107-lap run coming in stage 3, so who knows what kind of lead he's going to put on those guys at that point.
Well, the key is to stay clean and continue with what he's doing and running the same lines. Clearly, that line and that car setup works, because if you've got 45 laps of wear on these tires and you were able to do what he did, I wouldn't change a thing.
I wouldn't change a thing either, as these cars are more than likely going to be coming down pit road here this time to get some fresh Goodyears, to get that car filled with fuel. And
you can see that the 00 is missing its hood.
Yeah, it is. I mean, definitely some damage as Kyle Milliken is making his way down pit road. Very lonely pit road for him right now. Nobody really
say,
close to him.
Did anybody come down?
So it looks like
there's more. There's more coming down.
There's definitely more. He's just so far in front of him, it looks like nobody else joined him on pit road. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's a lot of the guys coming down. Let's see what this pit road, race off pit road is going to look like. I'm just going to say for second on back, because that Kyle Milliken machine, unless he does something crazy in the pit roads, is going to take off in the lead, start stage 2, as we see Mark Sikosi there, Justin Diltz, everybody making their way down pit road.
There goes Kyle.
There goes Kyle. Let's see who's going to be the race off the pit road. Is Ryan Chapman going to take it for second? Yes, he will. And then you have the number 17, Luke Bullard, in third. You have Justin Diltz coming in fourth. And then you have Mark Sikosi there in fifth. Lost one spot.
Well, it was that was a 22-second pit stop, which is a little long. Typically expect to see something around 14.7 to 15 seconds for a 4-tire change and topping off the fuel. So.
Yeah, really long stop for that 2 camp, but hopefully he can get back up there. We know he has speed. We've seen it before. Had a little bit of trouble on the wall. At least see some other takers down pit road. These are all the 1 lap down and 2 lap down cars making their way on pit road. So this is going to be a race between Kenneth Elliott and Thomas Thompson for the first car lap down. The 74, the 21, and the 78 machine. It's going to be very important if a caution comes out who's going to be out front, especially at this track. It looks like fruition is going to take place here with being consistent on the track and on pit road. So my prediction of pay attention to pit road for sure will play a factor here coming up. But we do have a 45-lap segment. Well, it'll be a 40-lap segment coming to probably, we get 1 to go here with the leader just now making his way off at turn 4.
I'm guessing Elliott's getting some damage repaired, or He could have sped on pit road. That's a 44, 45 second pit stop and counting. Same with Thomas Thompson. Looks like both of them may have been, or they're just getting some incremental damage repaired. Remember, there's no fast repairs at this event, so you've got to take care of damage when you can and avoid getting lapped any worse than you already are.
Yeah, and the leaders are in turn 1 now, so those guys were cutting it as close as you can cut it with that lead there on the lead car. So it looks like they got ahead of the pace car. They should be able to circle back around as we now only have 9 cars on the lead lap. You have Kyle Milliken in first, Ryan Chapman in second. You have Luke Bullard in third, Mark Sikosi in fourth, Evan Amick in fifth, Alan Krall rounding out the top 6, Bill Hull in seventh, Josh Aaron in eighth, and Justin Diltz in ninth. And the first car lap down is the number 74 machine of Kenneth Bradstock. So got to pay very close attention to the 10th, 11th, and 12th place spot as we're about to come to the green here again at Rockingham, the Rock. Thunder Alley 200 is about to get back underway. Pace car drops off. And wow, big jump out of the 10 car. He was like, see you guys. I'm just going to do what I did last run. Just going to take the lead and go off into turn 1 as the whole field then settles in behind him.
Well, they're on fresh rubber, and they're back to try and reclaim some of these spots. So we're going to watch this field for what can and what will happen as they come back with cold tires and a super hot track.
Yeah, exactly. The track temperature was 120 degrees at green flag, which has it increased in just a matter of minutes there from practice to qualifying and from qualifying to the race. So very interesting track state. Everybody is single file right now, chasing that number 10 machine of Kyle Milliken, who has led every single lap up to this point. So right now, Luke Bullard in third, Ryan Chapman, Evan Amick, Mark Sikosi, all those guys chasing this number 10 machine as everybody is sort of settled down. Nobody really battling that hard, just kind of settled in. Have some close racing going on throughout the rest of the track, but everybody seems to just be content. I would say these restarts are really important for track position, just to get settled in, and also if you can gain a few spots, do it, because on the longer run, it's going to be very, very hard to get around some of these cars. As we see now, between the 17 and the 7, they're in first and second. They're running multiple different lines, as well as the number 2 of Mark Sikosi. They're in fifth, Alan Kroll in sixth. Everybody's just kind of settled in now.
Well, I think you've got to at this point. I wouldn't say it's a one-groove track because we've seen drivers take different approaches to their corner entrances and corner exits, but it's hard to pass. You're constantly either turning, getting ready to turn, or coming out of turn at this track.
Yes, it is. We can see the 17 of Luke Bullard has been closing on Kyle the last 2 laps. Very slow slightly. He is entering the corner a lot quicker than that number 10 car is. Now, does that mean that the 10 car is laying off a little bit? Does that mean that Luke Bullard knows a little something that the 10 doesn't? I don't know which one it is, but he's definitely closed the gap up to about 5/10 of a second now on that number 10 machine. We'll see what he can do, but he is gaining on him for sure, Rick.
He sure is. So we did see, I think that we have an incident in the back with Chris Robley. We'll just jump back to see what was happening back then.
Oh, slide and hit the wall, saved it, spun around, no caution.
No
but
caution.
Underneath the track, but he was on the apron, so really no need to cause a caution there. Unfortunate for that camp. Now he is 5 laps down, now 6 laps down, unfortunately, for Chris Robley there. Hate to see it, but no caution. But Rick, let's go back to the lead. We have a battle for second place between Ryan Chapman and Luke Bullard side by side. It looks like Ryan Chapman just took control and is like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and pass you with confidence, as he is now on his pursuit for that number 10 machine.
We can bring back that pass. Looks like he followed in Kyle Milliken's approach to get down that yellow line.
Look at the run.
Huge. There's something there.
Yeah, maybe that number 17 machine got a little bit tight coming out of the corner, but that 7 machine has just completely cleared him and is now on the prowl to get up close to Kyle Milliken in that number 1 position, and he's slowly gaining on him. So we may see Ryan Chapman take a little bit out of Kyle Milliken's book there and run the bottom line. He's gaining on him for sure, Rick. He's making his way up there.
He sure is. Now that's only a half a second or so gap between second place of the number 7 of Chapman running down Kyle Milliken. So 137 laps to go here at Rockingham for the National Sim Racing League's Grand National Series, sponsored by Speed Demon.
Got some other great sponsors in this league as well. We have Affordable SEO, Elevated Outdoors, and Butt Kicker as well. You know, got to give a shout out to those guys, as well as obviously the main league sponsor, Speed Demon. Speed on the cars, speed in the track, and also on some of the cars. Kyle Milliken is a Speed Demon right now. But looking at the number 7 machine, this is a little bit uncharacteristic. Kyle hasn't faced much pressure from anybody tonight, and that number 7 machine is looking really good off a corner exit, especially right there. He has closed the gap up to less than 0.5 of a second, almost 0.2 of a second right there. So Ryan knows something. Ryan knows something that Kyle doesn't. I don't know if it's the draft. I wouldn't imagine so, but it looks like Kyle is much better out of the corner.
Well, remember, these guys are teammates, so I'm sure he has gone to school watching Kyle navigate this track, and part of the same race shop means potentially the same setup. So that means that this is a good opportunity for these teammates to stretch out their differences, their delta between the third place and beyond driver.
And what I've noticed, Rick, I've been following along these two drivers very closely. It looks like Ryan is backing up his corner entry, going a little bit higher to get a run out of the corner, which is why I might say Kyle was getting better corner exit speed. Ryan, my bad, was getting better corner exit speed. See him go a little bit higher, and he's going to drop down to the bottom of the track and just slide up. And you can see him gain right there, almost come to the bumper of that number 10 machine. Let's see if he does it here. Oh, no, he decides to go low. Kyle goes high. Oh, he got a little too low, hit the apron. Hit the apron, lost the momentum there. Yeah, he was trying to do what Kyle wasn't and cost him some time. So unfortunate there, but he's still within fighting and striking distance, which nobody else has been in that position all race.
Well, we can ride along with Ryan this next lap and see what he sees.
Right now he's obviously coming out of 4, about to get to the start-finish line, and look at how bumpy turn 1 and 2 is going to be here. The car is just going all over the place, and you know that car is not really that happy going up and down those bumps as he comes off the corner, sliding up to the wall, trying to keep it as straight as he can. And let's see his corner entry here. He definitely goes down middle of the track. He tries to almost diamond it off of the center and get that run off. And yeah, Rick, you can just tell right there just how bumpy it is in the corners, especially right here in 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, into 1 just will unsettle the car in a heartbeat, and you've got to counteract that with steering through those bumps.
And I believe you mentioned you actually have driven on this track in a real race car. Is that correct?
I have, yeah. I spent some time with Buck Baker in the Buck Baker driving school back in the day, and got a chance to spend here at Rockingham driving Jeff Gordon's old Outback car. Buck had acquired it and put it in his driving school, and Buck was a character. He certainly made it clear that the guys that were part of that driving school and the guys like myself were there. He made it very clear not to mess up his cars, and he didn't quite use that language. He used more colorful language, but it was a great time. You learn a lot, you really do. Not to say that we could step into an ARCA car or a modified car after that weekend, but certainly a lot of the guys that I was running with were New England modified drivers. They were West Coast drivers who were coming east to really get a feel for what NASCAR was, and so it was a great opportunity to do that, and it's a highlight of one of the things in my life. So yeah, it was great. It's a heck of a track to drive and just to watch. It takes a lot of skill for these guys to get around this track.
Yeah, especially if, you know, what a track to learn how to drive. I mean, learn how to man one of those cars. Rockingham's probably one of the best tracks to do it just because of the nature of the bumps, the age of the track, the history of the track. You have a lot in your favor there to just get as much experience as possible. You know, it's not smooth pavement as you see with like Atlanta or some of these newer tracks. So I couldn't imagine what it was like back then, you know, when it was still in commission on the NASCAR circuit. I mean, gosh, I would have been killed to driven Jeff Gordon's car. So now you made me jealous, Rick. I make me mad. Now I'm angry on the broadcast. Gordon's my favorite driver. We have a car coming out of turn 4, a little loose.
Dan Withers up there in the 67.
Yeah, he is now 3 laps down in that number 67 machine, as you mentioned before, as we still are riding